and welcome to episode 5 of Breaking Down Chronology, where we are going to be looking at interaction. Now, interaction is not strictly chronological, but it allows us to look at concurrence through another lens and take it that step further than just those that existed at the same time and start to think about those that met. Please do make sure you've looked at all of the previous videos to ensure that the full picture of what I'm going to be discussing makes sense. All of the links are in the description below. What I'll do is, as ever, load a quick PowerPoint with some timelines and we will get started. Concurrence and interaction. I'm going to be linking these two concepts together because, well, they're linked. Interaction takes concurrence that step further. So concurrence is two or more events or circumstances happening or existing at the same time. Interaction, while not strictly chronological, takes it that step further. We're going to be exploring the groups that actually met. I'll be using the same timelines with a couple of additions. Here's the first one. You'll recognise it from last week. This is the overall narrative, and the intention here is to make a clear link between the Roman Empire, but also ancient Egypt, Greece, as well as the end of the British Iron Age. But do you know what's really helpful to fully understand the expansion of the Roman Empire? A map. A map is going to make life so much easier. I've just put a black rectangle across that part of the map because inside there you can see Rome, Italy, Greece, and also the northern part of Egypt, all located around the Mediterranean. It's really important that we link this geographic understanding with chronological to explore the difference between, well, concurrence and interaction. It also allows us to start thinking about concepts and the type of interactions that they would have had. Trade, that definitely goes on. We've got the idea of the Silk Road trade route. We've got trade across the Mediterranean. We've got land caravans as well. Migration. Greek settlements in Sicily and the southern tip of Italy. The settlements, what they were like, how they influenced the Romans as they expanded to gain control over Italy itself, and then eventually conquest. Egypt conquered by Alexander the Great, and then both Egypt and Greeks conquered and incorporated to become part of the Roman Empire. If we don't include the map alongside the timeline, it's a much harder idea to understand. Here's another timeline. This one is to link together British history with the NonEuropean Society, and a personal preference is the Abbasid Caliphate. That's early Islamic history. Because I've got my clear sense of scale on my timeline, I can look and make those clear links, really simply by just drawing mental lines from scale down to the different coloured bars. But, once again, a map is required to fully appreciate the type of contact they would have had. When I've taught this with children, their instant reaction is that the Vikings would have raided Baghdad because they are aware of that reputation the Vikings had, and also they would have studied the Viking raid on Lindisfarne. But by incorporating a better understanding of mapping and that locational knowledge, it becomes really obvious as soon as you ask the question, why would the Vikings sail around the entirety of Europe on the off chance you might get something good to raid and steal? It puts that doubt in mind. And that's when we can reinforce the concept of trade, because trade happens pretty much throughout history. This map is a personal favourite, and that's identifying the trade routes, the voyages, and then the settlements. If I just showed them the concurrent timelines, that wouldn't be as apparent. So when you're thinking about interactions, it takes it beyond just a timeline and starts to think about maps and how the two interlink together to generate a better understanding. If you're teaching about the expansion of the Roman Empire, definitely use maps as well to depict this change over time. Okay, just finish off with a quick summary. Both concurrence and interaction can be introduced earlier, but as I said before, I prefer to embed periodization, scale, etc. before emphasizing this added layer of complexity. Concurrence establishes that multiple timelines exist at the same time, but does not say they met, so be clear about the difference. They can be evident in either the overall narrative or internal narrative. And then as soon as you start to consider interaction and concurrence as well, quite frankly, ensure maps are used to support what the timeline represents so that you can see it in both contexts. There we are. That is the first 5 videos done. Hopefully you found them useful, and just one key point in which to finish on. Be very deliberate about which concepts you are introducing and which concepts you are reinforcing. Just because you've introduced it, does that mean the children have got it? And just because they've got it, does that mean they'll remember it when you cover it again? So for me, it's about being really, really deliberate and reinforcing before adding on. Hope that all makes sense. As I've said to you before, it'd be great if you give the channel a subscribe and leave a like and any comments below, and I'll happily answer any in the comments. Great, thanks very much. See you later. Bye.